Hey, before you scroll past this, I need you to hear something. While everyone is watching gold hit record highs, while everyone is talking about Bitcoin, while everyone is arguing about stocks and real estate, silver is sitting quietly in the corner, underpriced, underround, completely ignored. And the people who understand what's about to happen, the analysts, the insiders, the institutions quietly accumulating, they are not complaining about that. Because when nobody is watching, that's exactly when the biggest moves are made. I'm going to show you something today that most financial channels won't touch. Not because it isn't real, but because it's too early. And in finance, too early looks exactly like wrong right up until it doesn't. So if you've got 10 minutes, stay with me, because this might be the most important financial video you watch this year.
Let's start with the basics, because before you can understand where silver is going, you need to understand what silver actually is. Most people think of silver as jewelry, maybe photography, maybe coins their grandfather collected. That's not what silver is in 2024. Silver is the most industrially critical metal on Earth, and the world just woke up to that fact in a very serious way. Silver conducts electricity better than any other metal. It reflects light better than any other material. It has natural antibacterial properties nothing else can replicate at scale. And it is, right now, today, an absolutely irreplaceable component in the technology that is supposed to power the next 100 years of human civilization. Every single solar panel produced anywhere in the world requires silver, not optionally, not as a preference, as a physical chemical necessity. Every electric vehicle contains silver in its circuitry, its battery management systems, its charging infrastructure. Every 5G antenna, every semiconductor, every advanced military system, every medical device, every piece of AI hardware being manufactured right now at unprecedented scale, all of it needs silver. And here is where the story gets uncomfortable. The world is running out of it, not metaphorically, not as a distant future problem. Right now, today, the world is consuming more silver than it is mining, every single year, for the last several years in a row. In 2022, the global silver market ran a deficit of 237 million ounces. That means the world used 237 million more ounces than it produced. In 2023, the deficit continued, and demand projections for 2024 and beyond are not smaller. They are significantly larger, because here's what's happening simultaneously on the demand side. The global solar installation target, agreed upon by nearly every major economy on Earth, requires a tripling of solar panel production by 2030. Every one of those panels needs silver. The math on that alone should make your eyes go wide. The EV transition, projected to put hundreds of millions of electric vehicles on roads globally over the next decade, each one consuming multiple ounces of silver in components. The AI infrastructure build-out, the data centers, the chips, the cooling systems, the connectivity hardware, all silver-intensive at a scale we haven't seen before. Three massive, simultaneous, unstoppable demand forces, all arriving at the same time, all needing the same metal. And the mines? The mines cannot keep up. Silver mining is expensive, slow to scale, and heavily dependent on byproduct production from other metal mining. You cannot just decide to produce more silver next year. It takes a decade to bring a new mine online. Supply is constrained. Demand is exploding. This is not complicated. But here's the part that makes this story genuinely extraordinary. The part that separates silver from every other commodity on Earth. Silver is two things at once. It is an industrial metal, consumed by technology, destroyed in use, gone forever once it's in a solar panel or a circuit board. And it is a monetary metal, a store of value, a hedge against inflation, a hard asset that governments cannot print and central banks cannot manipulate. No other element on the periodic table sits at that intersection. Gold is monetary but barely industrial. Copper is industrial but not monetary. Silver is both completely at the same time. And right now, both of those forces are pulling in the same direction, simultaneously, for the first time in decades. Industrial demand is surging because of the green energy transition and the tech revolution. And monetary demand is surging because, as we've seen with gold, central banks and investors around the world are moving toward hard assets as trust in the dollar-based system erodes. When both engines fire at the same time, the price doesn't just move, it moves violently. Now let's talk about the ratio, because this is the number that serious silver investors watch more than any other. The gold to silver ratio tells you how many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold. Historically, over centuries, that ratio has averaged around 15 to 1, sometimes 20 to 1, because that's roughly how much more gold exists than silver in the Earth's crust. Today, that ratio is sitting around 80 to 1. In some recent periods, it touched 90 to 1. That means silver is extraordinarily cheap relative to gold by any historical measure. Every time in modern history that this ratio has stretched this far, 1980, 2011, silver has snapped back violently. Not gradually, violently. In 1980, silver went from $5 to $50 in a matter of months. In 2011, it nearly tripled in under a year. The ratio right now is more stretched than it was before either of those moves. That doesn't guarantee the same outcome. Nothing in markets is guaranteed. But it tells you something profound about how mispriced silver currently is relative to its historical relationship with gold. So who is already positioned? Eric Sprott, one of the most respected precious metals investors alive, has been publicly accumulating silver for years and calling it the most undervalued asset on Earth. Rick Rule, former CEO of Sprott U.S. Holdings, has described silver as sitting on a coiled spring. Major mining companies have been quietly increasing silver production capacity. That's not what you do if you think the price is going lower. And retail investors in India and China, two of the largest silver-consuming nations on Earth, have been buying physical silver at record rates in the last 18 months. The smart money moved quietly, as it always does, before the crowd arrives. Now I want to be clear about something, because this video is not financial advice. And silver, like any commodity, can stay irrational longer than any of us expect. The timing of a move like this is impossible to predict. It could be 6 months. It could be 3 years. Markets do not move on logic alone. They move on logic plus catalyst plus momentum. But here is what I know with complete confidence. The fundamentals for silver: supply deficit, industrial demand explosion, monetary demand surge, historical ratio distortion, proven manipulation and suppression are the strongest they have been in a generation. And the biggest financial moves in history, the ones that genuinely changed people's financial trajectories, happened to the people who saw the setup clearly and positioned themselves before the crowd arrived. Not after the headline, before it. So here's where we land. Silver is not exciting right now. That's the point. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody is writing breathless headlines about it. The mainstream financial media is focused on gold, on Bitcoin, on the stock market. And silver is sitting there, quietly, historically cheap, fundamentally explosive, with 3 massive demand forces converging on a supply base that cannot scale fast enough to meet them. The industrial world needs it more than ever before. The monetary world is waking up to it. And the financial system that spent years suppressing it is cracking under the weight of physical reality. Something is coming for silver. The setup is as clear as it gets. The only question that actually matters, is whether you'll hear about it before or after it happens. Because in markets, timing is everything. And right now, for the first time in a long time, time is still on your side. If this made you think differently about silver, share this with one person who needs to see it, because the information that actually changes your financial future never trends on its own. Stay curious, stay early, stay ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.